Welcome to Local SEO in 10. This is your go-to podcast for answers about how you can grow your local business online, easily and quickly. Brought to you by local SEO experts, Magnified Media in Walnut Creek, California. In each 10-minute episode, our digital marketing expert, Adam Duran, answers your questions on how you can get more leads for your business fast. Remember, if you're not taking care of this part of your business right now, you can bet your competitors are. And now, here's our host with the questions, Jamie Duran, and our expert with the answers, Adam Duran.
Hello, Adam.
Hey, Jamie.
All right. How's your week going?
It's going very good. Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right. Today, I have a great podcast episode for you.
Excellent.
All right. It's inspired by a real life happening. A few weeks back, a company came to us and they came to us with an idea. And their idea was they needed help. They'd never hired a digital marketing agency before. They are quite comfortable in their niche, but they're launching a new kind of subsidiary to that. And they didn't know where to start. So they just checked on Google. They reached out to, they found us and they reached out to us. And so this podcast is basically for a company like that. How do you start this process? What do you need to do to prepare so that way you're not taken advantage of? Like, luckily, this company, very nice people, they reached out to us, and luckily they reached out to us because they could have made some massive errors and went with somebody else. So these are some great things that I wish they had known, but they lucked out. But for all the other ones who come to us after having horrible experiences, this podcast is for you, so you can avoid those. Okay?
Well, yeah, you got to start with this podcast.
That would be nice, definitely. And so that's why for this one, what I wanted to do is basically first step is going to be that preparation. You have to get in your mind, write down what goals you actually want to accomplish, right? How can that agency help you accomplish those goals? You already know maybe you can't do it yourself. Great. That's a great first step. The next one is trying to figure out what goals you actually want to accomplish. So that's a really basic one, but that will definitely help guide that first conversation with that agency. Okay?
Yep.
All right. So that'll also be able to kind of inform your budget. So if you think, okay, hey, we need to reach people right now, or we have the time to build up kind of a long-term strategy, that will allow you to structure your budget accordingly, right? So if you're in short-term mode, you need things to happen right now, then Google Ads is going to be what we recommend. If you are long-term, then we're going to be saying, okay, we're going to do that organic SEO part of this. If you need both, then we're going to recommend both, right? So those are the kind of things that right off the bat, that agency, whoever you call or whoever you reach out to, they're going to need to know right away. Okay?
Sounds good.
All right. So then the other thing you're going to start doing is that search for that agency. And you can definitely ask around, ask other business owners. If you're in any kind of networking group, you can ask them. Once you do that, though, you're going to have to validate those choices. So be very careful just going with somebody that somebody recommends. You're still going to have to do your own kind of research into that company and spend more than 5 minutes doing it. Okay?
Yes.
All right. So how you can do that, you can open up an incognito browser and then you can search for that marketing agency or that digital marketing agency in their city where they're located. You can see how they rank. And so you can just type in digital marketing company, whatever city. Now, if they are ranking themselves for that category in that area, then boom, that's a great green flag, right? So then the next step, checking their reviews, making sure that everything looks on the up and up. They don't have crazy reviews that are suspicious. they have more than one review, they've been in business more than a few months, that kind of thing. Okay.
Yeah. You skip. Can you explain a little bit more why you need to use the incognito browser?
We're trying to get a definitive kind of non-influenced answer. So that means going to an incognito browser that doesn't allow Google to track you. So when you're just using your regular browser, Google's can definitely, that affects your search results. So incognito means that most likely anyway, those it won't be influenced by your past search results.
Okay.
That's why. Okay. Obviously the things to avoid are the cold email people, the Fiverr marketplaces, any of those ones that are saying, hey, I'll get you number one rankings overnight guaranteed. Those are big red flags. So just don't waste your time. Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, those are big ones. All right. So then now you have a phone call with somebody at that marketing agency. So some very easy questions you should ask, and they should be able to answer right immediately without, trying to do anything other than just answer your questions. You should ask, who's going to be working on our account? Whoever you're speaking to, that might not be the person who is going to be working with you. And if you end up meeting with somebody else, this is another question. Who's going to be working on my account? Just because it's a large agency, you might be biased to think, oh, they're really good at this. They're large. Unfortunately, what that means is the newer, smaller accounts will go to the newer, smaller, less experienced people in that company.
Hmm.
And most likely, they won't be there next year, or who knows. And that's just a fact of this industry. So whoever you're talking to, you want to make sure that you understand kind of their structure, like who's going to be your point of contact always. And then how accessible is that person going to be to you? Okay.
Okay. Yep.
All right. Next on, you obviously on their website, they should have case studies. That's something you should ask about for your business. Do you have any case studies that you can send us in our industry? Ask them about their reporting, and ask them, how will I understand the reports? So can you give me an example of a report? I don't care if it has, the identifiers or not, but you should be able to check out what their reports are and then be able to say, okay, what does this mean? What does this mean? How are you tracking our progress? That kind of question. Okay.
Yep. That makes sense.
All right. So then when you're doing that, you're going to watch out for those red flags, the guaranteed ranking stuff, long contracts that offer no setup, or just very kind of too good to be true kind of stuff. Vague answers, no case studies, that thing that I said about them ranking locally themselves, that's a big deal. If they don't have 5-star reviews, how are they going to help you, right? If they can't rank their own company, how are they going to help you? They should walk the talk. So if they don't, time to look somewhere else. Okay.
Okay.
All right. So the other one that we want to talk about is, how do they themselves measure their success with you? They should be talking about you, the business owner, your results. They should be talking about your increased revenue, your increased client numbers, your increased leads. That's awesome to hear. If you don't hear that kind of language, then you have to kind of think about why that might be. And that is a red flag, right? You want to have somebody who's passionate about this and passionate about serving you as the client. So that will inform their whole methodology about what they do for your business. And so making sure that they're transparent, making sure that they're accessible, and making sure that all the reporting, it's in line and understandable by you. And if it's not understandable, will they take the time to explain it so that you can understand it without using super jargonized geofencing, AI focused, all that junk that you hear in every industry, especially ours, that is just meant to confuse the uneducated. So making sure that you are understanding what they're saying, also part of this process. And if you hear any of that weirdness that just doesn't sound right, or the guys or gal is saying bro to you a lot, then maybe time to move on. All right.
Yes,
All
that's
right.
all very good.
All right. So just to sum that all up, know your goals, search smartly, be smart when you're searching, ask those real questions, trust that real results that they're showing you, and then look for their strategy, their transparency, and their passion about what they do. So all of those things combined will most likely lead you to a great agency who can serve you and help grow your business, which is what this is all about. So growing your business and making it, magnifying your results, right? Magnifying your business, magnifying your profits.
Your media.
That's it. All right, Jamie, any questions?
Lots of questions. I'll just
go.
Bring it down to one. So if I'm looking for a new agency, what if I just add, hey, can you share a contact, somebody that I would be, an actual person that I can talk to about their experience with your agency?
Yeah, you can. I know that we've done that in the past. Definitely. I really have to value my client relationship, because one of my philosophies is we're not here to give our clients more work. So if we have a really close relationship, and we do with a lot of our long-term clients, we have these pre-existing questions like, hey, if a potential client wants to talk to you, are you okay doing that? Those clients, definitely, I have to frame that call. So to let them know, hey, this potential client is, they want to talk to one of our current clients. Is that okay if I give them your number and to do a text introduction to them? Sure, that's no problem. But, over 5 or something like that, then for me as the agency owner, that's a major red flag. So no. But 1 or 2, sure. We have no problem doing that. It is, I've got to say that I think in the 10 years plus I've been doing this, I've been asked that question maybe 10 times, and maybe 1 time has it actually ended up with a client. So that turned into too much information, and the client was paralyzed, right? Or it was just one more thing on their checklist that they went on Google and said, okay, I need that. And then they ended up either never calling that client, or just disappearing. I mean, whatever. If you feel like you need to talk to a client, then sure, they should be able to provide it.
Okay. All right. Well, that makes sense.
But my number one philosophy for my clients is, and when I'm asked that by a potential client, I always say this: our job is not to give you work. So, and if you want to in the future talk to a potential client, try and put yourself on the other end of that. Are you going to be open to doing that? So it takes a very special client who's going to want to do that for us. And yeah, we have them, and they do, and it's great when they do. But yeah, that's not my style.
Okay. And then, you've talked about this before on other podcasts, but how long, and I think you even addressed it here, what is an acceptable time frame to give the clients to evaluate if they are, getting the results that they want from a new agency?
So that's a great question. If it's for organic SEO, we're talking 3 months. If it's Google Ads, then you'll know that within the first month. Other than those two, you have to understand that organic SEO, that local SEO stuff, it's not a light switch. It does take time. It can take 2 days, but it can also take 3 months. It all depends on how competitive your sector is. The competition level, it can be really rough. And if it is, then you're going to have to be patient on those rankings, and hence their results. But listen to that agency, listen to whoever you're working with about how to get maximum results for your investment in that agency, right? You're investing in your marketing with them. So, always be open to whatever you guys recommend we do. We have to give that we have to give that our full attention. So making sure to listen to them is also a part of this process.
Okay, well, very good, Adam. That's really informative and very helpful. So if you have a business and you're evaluating your digital agency, definitely listen back to this podcast for the points that Adam brought up. And if you know of another business that might be struggling or is looking to improve or increase their digital footprint across the internet to attract more customers, share this podcast with them as well. And then give us 5 stars wherever you are listening to it. And then if you have any questions about this topic or any other topic, go to our website, magnifiedmedia.net, click on the podcast button, and then enter the search term that you're looking for. And then chances are there's 2 or 3 podcasts there that will answer those questions. So with that, we will talk to you next week. And thanks very much, Adam.
That's all for now. Thanks for listening to this episode of Local SEO in 10 with Google local marketing expert Adam Duran. Join us each week for answers to your questions on how to best harness the power of the internet to grow your business. Speaking of questions, got some? Message us through our Facebook page, Local SEO in 10, and we'll be sure to give you your answer on an upcoming episode. This episode of Local SEO in 10 is brought to you by Magnified Media, the leading online marketing agency in Northern California, who invite you to grow your business by magnifying your online visibility and credibility. Visit them on the web at www.magnifiedmedia.com. Magnify your business, magnify your profits.